Hi, this is Bill from Bill's Workbench, and welcome to the Workbench, or at least the editing area of the Workbench. I was watching the YouTubes, as you do, and as you're doing right now, and I saw Angus from Maker's Muse, and he was talking about the hashtag 3D printing on YouTube, and I thought I would answer those 5 questions. When did I hear about 3D printing? Well, I saw 3D printing for the first time at a trade show here in Las Vegas. It was about 2007, and it was a printing company called the Z Corp, and they had a printer that used starch-based printing. I think it would lay a new bed of starch over, and then some print heads would go over the top, and it would print in full color, and it was pretty cool. We thought that that was the way cool printer to get, so the company got that printer. We started printing with it. We soon discovered that those prints that came out of there were very, very brittle, and it sort of gave me a bad taste for 3D printing for quite some time. It wasn't until 2015 when I really started getting into 3D printing, and that's when I discovered the FDM printing, the filament printing. And those parts came out, and they were quite sturdy and strong, and they worked out well. And I thought I could make this work for some of the hobbies that I do. And so that's when I started getting into 3D printer. And that first printer that I had was a new matter printer. So you can look that one up too. What was the first thing that I 3D printed? I don't remember what the first thing I 3D printed was. I remember the first real big thing that I 3D printed was parts for my drone and for my Great Mojave Rover, which is up there. And I created practical things around the house, such as all of the red things behind me that hold up all of my different tools. So I never really got into knick-knack printing. I was more of a practical printing person. And the Great Mojave Rover was a great learning platform for me. I drew all of that up in AutoCAD and printed out those parts. And I learned how to print 3D parts, and I learned how to model better in AutoCAD. So that was a nice learning experience. Today, I'm using those tools, and I'm using Atom 3D from a LibreCAD to create new parts for my RC crawler. So is 3D printing a hobby or a tool? More of a tool than it is a hobby, because I don't print out knickknacks like I said before. I print out parts for my RC cars, or I print out that Mojave Rover that you saw earlier. I've also printed out many other things around my office here, as well as things for work. In fact, I'm printing out right now nameplate holders for digital nameplates that we're going to use Android tablets to build. In my opinion, what is the best printer? Well, the one you have is the best printer, because you can look all day long, but if you don't have a printer, you're not printing anything. Best one you got is the one you have. Sort of like a camera. Best camera you have is the one you have with you. But of all the printers that I've printed with and used, I've used that Z Corp, the New Matter, an XYZ DaVinci Pro. I've used the Creality Ender 3D. That's the one I had the longest. And now I have the Bamboo Labs P1S printer, and I really like that printer. That's a great printer. It's the first printer I haven't used to tinker with. The Creality was a great printer to tinker with and to learn to print, but I'm beyond that. I just want to start printing now. So, great printer. What is the number one tip for beginners? The number one tip I have for you is, if your prints are starting to look like this, you need to clean your print bed. And the best thing to clean your print bed with is Dawn dish soap and water. Get a brush and the dish soap and go to town on your flexible sheet there. Make sure it's completely dry, and then throw it back in the printer, and it'll work like a charm. So what is my channel all about? Well, my channel is about what I like to tinker with. Right now, that's RC cars and crawlers. Before, I was doing some trains, and then I was doing some Tonka trucks and some Matchbox cars. Those were a lot of fun to redo, but I'm really finding the RC cars are a lot more fun. It's a little bit more tinkering involved, a little bit more thinking involved in making those the way that I want them to be, and designing things for those cars and 3D printing them. So thank you, Angus. Thank you for allowing us this platform, and thank you for all the help you've given me and everyone else here on YouTube over the years. I can't wait to see what you make next.